Welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast, the show by fans for fans of your Milwaukee Brewers. Hi, Brewer fans. Welcome to Historic Brew Crew Review Podcast number 30, or perhaps 29. Lost count. We've been firing them off so rapidly. Anyway, with me tonight is Scott and Vince. Chad, I'm not sure. Are you there, Chad?
Scott, did you? Chad, it doesn't sound like he's here. Scott, you talked to Chad earlier. Where did you say he was again?
I think he said he was still enjoying the All-Star festivities. So, I don't know.
I think he got the town wrong, though. He's in Vegas somehow enjoying them, even though the All-Star is actually where Vince lives in Washington, D.C., so.
Yeah, and I have been attending the All-Star festivities, and I'm still here on the podcast.
Chad believes that most sporting events are better watched in Vegas. So,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, it is a lot of fun.
All right. Well, that's cool.
He did say something about wishing it a bit more on the Pirates or something. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
So, all right, well, we're here with another show. Scott's got.
I'm sure glad none of us gambled while we worked at the ticket office, because that could get us in hot water.
We would not want to be subject to MLB's anti-gambling policies and guidelines.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
For any of the people that do work for a Major League Baseball team, if you do bets, well, even while you're in Vegas, I wouldn't recommend posting your betting slips to either Twitter, of course. I mean, I know you follow us and you'd like to communicate, but I wouldn't do that either. Twitter or Facebook or anywhere online. It's just not generally a good idea.
Especially if some of your coworkers are narcs/douchebags. So.
That's a good point, Scott. It's a great point.
To help.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the Brewers haven't made any significant trades since we last spoke, but I know that the Flyers.
Those kind of douchebags really set the bar low for everyone.
Nice, Scott, with the pun. One of those inside jokes that only we enjoy. Luckily, we're the only ones listening, so awesome. Chris Barlow, hopefully you're one of our followers. I know that you're one of our former co-workers.
Yeah, unrelated.
Yeah. Him and Tom Huntercore were two of my favorite colleagues. So.
Oh,
anyway, inside jokes are fun, not a podcast.
Well, guys, I did want to let you know that I have a very amazing Rapid 9 setup, because, the last week with the Brewers of the regular season has not been particularly good. And I think this is just going to be a nice little nostalgic walk down memory lane / pick-me-up to hopefully get us inspired to dominate the second half and cruise toward a playoff berth. So hopefully that's what this is going to do.
That's great, Scott. Thank you for all your thoughtful consideration and putting that together for our fans here in Milwaukee and all around the great state of Wisconsin.
Oh, and just a quick reminder, too, if you want to send any questions or anything like that, feel free to, email Brew Crew Review Podcasts with an S.com, and we'll answer that. And then otherwise, just go to Twitter. That's at Brew Crew Review 1, the number 1. So, do one of those things.
I know that Scott's interns do go through all of our emails. We do get quite a lot of email correspondences from our fans, and we do try to get to them at least once a week on one of our 2 podcasts. We try to get to an email segment, so we'll try to get to one today, depending on how long Scott's Rapid 9 questions go. So back to you, Scotty.
All right, I know that you have fired our last 3 interns because as you told me that they weren't performing, whatever that meant. When you said not performing, I assume that meant that they weren't checking any of our emails, questions.
On and off the field.
So,
They or not the snuff.
So our emails, I don't think have been checked in 3 weeks. So I know our fans are probably piling quite a few of them up. So perhaps next time, if we get an intern that knows our internet password for our email, then and can perform our duties, then I think that we'll have those questions for you next episode. But for this time, let's talk a little bit of the Brewers minor league system. So far, it's still intact. We have not traded away the farm as of yet. That's a good thing. And of course, our representative in the Futures game, Keston Hira, unfortunately struck out with both at bats, but it was nice to see the Brewers represented, and hopefully our 2019 starting second baseman is still Hira, and hopefully we don't trade him. But
we actually had two players in the Futures game. Ortiz was named to the U.S. team as well.
Oh, yeah,
I thought we had a third.
No, just the second. Scotty, you got to follow our Twitter feed.
I thought it started with a K.
Yeah.
Had a Z in it. I don't remember his
no.
name. All right.
No, it's Hira and Ortiz were the two Brewers represented in the Futures game, both playing for Team USA.
Yeah. Nice.
So no, overall, I think we touched on this a little bit last episode. Freddie Peralta had a huge breakout year for the Brewers at the major league level, and he's such a fine. If he was still in the prospect ranking, I think he'd be right up there with Burns and Hira as far as guys that the Brewers probably prefer to not trade and be part of their future. With that being said, outside of those two players, I'll just throw this out there. Is there any other player that you prefer the Stearns not part with as part of the trade negotiations that are coming up here in the next couple of weeks? Is there any other kind of lower other members of the top Brewers top 30 or so prospects that you guys prefer not to trade? Outside of Tim Dillard, who definitely don't want to get rid of unless you can get something really good.
I mean, we've talked a lot about the Brewers' need for pitching and developing pitching, and organization-wide, it's been a problem for several decades outside of maybe Ben Sheets and perhaps Giovanni Guerrero. So you'd like to hang on to a couple of these internal pitching prospects that we have. Certainly, Burns and Peralta would fit that bill, and you may start looking at a guy like Zach Brown and saying, okay, should we keep him around? But at some point, you do have to say, other teams are not stupid. They're going to want some of these guys back in deals if we are going to be active at the deadline this year.
Yeah, the short answer is no. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I have to pick anybody, I don't know, maybe Lucas Ursig. I don't know. But I'm okay with it. We can part ways if we have to. If it means getting playoffs this year.
And Craig pointed out on our last podcast, he made a really good point that the Brewers are going to be facing a 40-man roster crunch. And for our fans who are not aware, but I'm sure most of you are, there is a point where the team has to place 40 guys on the 40-man roster, and guys who have acquired, I forget the exact amount of time in the minor leagues that are not on that list are going to be exposed to the Rule of 5 draft, and then made available to other teams around baseball anyway. So perhaps there's going to be a coterie of guys from that list that we should be looking to trade, at the deadline this year if at all possible, so we can get something of value back for them.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you look at our Major League roster, especially now if you look at AER, pretty much solidified, in my opinion, a future everyday starting role at first base, kind of limits where we really have openings. We already know our outfield's pretty much full until, Braun moves on or Dame's contract is over. So now we're pretty much at first and third, at least some up the middle positions, basically catcher, shortstop, and second base, and of course plenty of pitching spots. You can never have too much pitching. That is definitely true. But beyond that, I mean, there's a lot of these guys, especially our outfielders like Phillips in particular, Broxton, Santana, even other guys like further down the pipeline a little bit, like Corey Ray, Tristan Lutz, Trent Clark / now Grisham, guys that are former first round draft pick outfielders are really, we're not going to have room for on the 40 man. Even guys like Tyrone Taylor, who's having a decent year at AAA, was once a actually, I think at one year he was rated in the top 3 Brewer prospects, and now he's just kind of an afterthought. These guys could be valuable if they move on to, one of these bomb-dwelling type teams. I mean, so going back to the question I just proposed, though, the guy I would throw out there is I kind of would prefer to keep, even if I won't lose any sleep if we have to include him to get a really nice piece. I kind of prefer to hold on to Corey Ray just because his value was so low last year, and he's retained some of that value, but I actually think that he could increase his value even more by next season at this time, to the point where we could even consider keeping him long term, or he'll be even a more valuable chip for us next trading deadline. I just kind of, because of those reasons, I kind of want to hold on to him one more year.
I think you're right, Craig. Ray has really established some value this year, and his bat's coming around. He's got power, he's got speed, he can play defense. I think that Ray is, he was adjusting a bit last year in the minors, and I think he was dealing with a bit of an injury. So I would cut Ray a little bit of slack. I think he could be a valuable piece for the Brewers going forward.
And he's at AA this year, which means I think next year he could spend a whole year at AAA, and if he's really breaking out then, we really got something on our hands next year at the trade deadline where we could either include him for a really nice controllable piece or as a headliner. I mean, I'm wishful thinking here. Or we could even say, you know what, we want him to be a future fixture in our outfield right next to Canyon Yelich. And while he gets broken in, he would have that fallback of platooning with Braun or someone like, Thames' contract, I think, is over at the end of last year. So that lines up pretty well, getting Corey Ray's left-handed bat possibly some everyday at bat starting in 2020. So, again, looking more to the future.
Yeah, and I think that, honestly, going forward, we've talked about Braun, a couple times here in the first few minutes. I think that Braun's best role for this team going forward is going to be off the bench. And I hate to say it because he's been with us for so long, and he's obviously had so many great moments as a Brewer. But, to keep him a bit healthier, I think is valuable. To have a guy with his experience off the bench, I think, could be valuable. And because he can play in left field or right field or first base if need be, besides just pinch hitting, I think he could be a very valuable bench guy for the last few years of his contract. And a lot of fans may not want to go down that road, but I think it's the smartest road to go down, especially given our outfield depth. So next year, 2019, we've still got Thames under contract for another year, and then who knows? Maybe it's Ray as our third outfielder in 2020. Like you said, Craig, maybe we extend Thames for a year. Who knows? But I just think that counting on Braun to be an everyday player going forward is really not realistic. And I think that maybe his value for us to be realized despite the money that we owe him could be most valuable off the bench.
Yeah, I think with the statement you just made, it would be hard for some Brewer fans to even comprehend it, like even just as early as a year ago, thinking, what are you talking about, our franchise outfielder and, longtime basically leader of almost everything in Brewer, all-time, hits, home runs, not hits yet, but I mean, a lot of categories that she's been such a long-time Brewer, that, the thought of that would not, it's hard for people to comprehend, but I think most people know that keeping him healthier by playing less is going to be something that just part of reality going forward. So,
yeah, and Cecil Cooper, another longtime franchise icon, had a very similar role for the Brewers at the tail end of his career. And, I could see Braun being okay with that, to be honest. It would give him a chance to recuperate more between times that he did play. And, again, he can play several positions if he needed to on certain days. And certainly as a pinch hitter off the bench, I'd be very confident in Ryan Braun coming up off the bench for us late in the game. I think
very
it's something
un-Cal Ripken-like in his willingness to take days off when needed.
You know what? I think this was – I want to say it was –
I'm still going to get paid, right, guys?
Yeah, all right, yeah. I think it was the Milwaukee Journal, I'm pretty sure, that they would always put like a little bit of section about Paul Molitor and his hitting streak and what he did the night before and what he had done during the streak. And then after that ended, this is in 87, then they switched it out to Cecil Cooper's sitting streak, and they were just showing he was off. And I thought it was really just kind of disrespectful toward a guy that has done so much for the franchise for so long and was a part of so many great runs. Right. Yeah, it was disappointing.
Yeah, well, we had an up-and-comer who Craig loves, Greg Brock, playing first base at that time, and I think that Tom Trumbullhorn really liked Brock for whatever reason and wanted that bat, and they both hit left-handed as well. But yeah, interesting times. I think Braun wins a little bit the fact that he can, again, play multiple positions, so I don't think he's going to be relegated to just game upon game of sitting. But, again, by keeping him in that bench role and keeping him a bit fresher. He's obviously got a lingering back issue. He's got a thumb issue, and he's had hamstring issues. And I just think that, again, with perhaps not being counted on quite as much to be that, key guy in the middle of the order every single day, it might give him, a bit better of an opportunity to contribute to the team's overall success by going off the bench.
And once the Brewers do make the playoffs this year or next, having Braun as a bench, the days he doesn't start as a bat coming off the bench is something that the Brewers could at least relish as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's huge. I mean, you compare that to, would you rather have Braun coming up at the end of the game or Brad Miller? To me, it's like it's a no-brainer that Braun can provide a ton of value at the end of the game off the bench.
Absolutely. So, Scott, I know that you've got our Stepping Up to Play questions this week, and since you haven't actually looked up the definition of rapid yet, we should probably get that started.
Yeah, and Scott, feel free to take your time and really expound on your answers. It's not a problem at all. So.
Guys, I'm actually going to encourage that from you as well, because I have a feeling that some of these are going to kind of like somebody's going to pick one and then everyone's going to agree. But I'd really like to hear, you could throw a couple of these out there, a couple answers if you want. Just pick your best, and if you have like a runner-up, feel free to share that too, because we got some great stuff here. So are we ready for the Rapid 9? You want to cue the Rapid 9 music, or do we have Rapid 9?
There it is. And Scott, which order are we going to go in?
Am I supposed to be using the Pina Colada song for the Rapid 9 music, or is that not correct?
No, it's not rapid. No, it's supposed to sound like or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I will let Vince bat lead off, and Craig, you can bat in the 2 spot.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
And then Chad? Okay, yeah, that's right.
Don't ask me to bunt.
Yeah. All right, guys, here we go. Question 1. All right, what's the better song, Turning Up the Heat or Brewer Fever?
Brewer Fever.
I got to go with Brewer Fever, too.
All right, guys, I got to say Brewers Turning Up the Heat, and our fans agreed. The polls just closed. So, yeah, it was a lot of votes. But,
if we throw Build Me Up Buttercup in there, I think that might actually oust the other two, especially amongst Brewer fans.
Yeah, that would probably take it. All right, this is a weird one. Weird question here. What local food establishment would you like to see in Miller Park? Like, I was just thinking, like, Summerfest obviously has like all the local areas, but like, what restaurant would you like to bring in there?
I would say Gillies actually should have a stand at Miller Park. They're close to the stadium. They've been there for a long time, and they're the favorite. Yeah, their favorite restaurant of Bud Selig, Milwaukee's former owner and commissioner of baseball. So yeah, I'm going to go with Gillies. Even though we already have other stands that sell hot dogs and hamburgers, but whatever.
Good pick, Vince. I would say that's a great pick. I was going to say something like Brewer fans would probably want something like Culver's, those Butterburgers or what have you. But
oh yeah,
because Wisconsinites love eating healthy, especially after drinking. But I would say something like really cool, like Safe House. And again, not biased at all because I'm employed by them or anything like that. But yeah, something like a little mini version of Safe House inside Miller Park would be pretty awesome.
Interesting. Nice.
I was actually going to go with a Wisconsin establishment, Cops. I think that
Cops, yeah, that's a good
place for burgers.
pick.
Oh, that's a good pick, Scott. Yeah.
Cops is classic.
I would get a Cops burger at Miller Park every time I was there. Runner-up, I guess, I don't know, maybe Saz's Ribs.
Yeah, Saz's.
Yeah, you can go through your whole
Saz's.
top 10 if you want. I mean, as long as you do it rapidly. I'm
Take
sure you've
your
got a
time.
whole list.
I should have a list, but I don't. All right, so
out here at National Stadium, they've got a Shake Shack, which is not as good as Cops, but it is considered to be by many on the East Coast, and that is the most popular by far destination for food in that stadium.
they just got a Shake Shack here in Vegas. Actually, I went there last month. It was very delicious.
Yeah, it's not bad. It really is solid. Again, I can't compete with Cops or my own personal favorite Murph's in Waukesha, but it is very good. So.
All right, so
are you guys all those places that you guys mentioned? I assume gave you some type of a cut for mentioning on our podcast. So
we are sponsored by.
I probably should tweet them all.
We are sponsored by at least 2 of those places, Craig.
Just make sure to hashtag all of them and cut me in on it, guys. Yeah. All right. Next inning.
All right. All right. Here we go. Inning 3. Staying with the food topic because, gotta talk about what you know. Yeah. What's the best food you've had on any Brew Crew Review road trip?
Oh, wow. Boy, I'm on the spot with this one. Actually, there was a place that Craig and I went to. I can't remember if you were there or not, Scott. The Mellow Mushroom Pizza place in, I think it was Chattanooga, Tennessee. Is that it, Craig?
Oh, yeah.
The place was awesome. Yeah. And then there was also food. Yeah, there was a fast food place that normally I'm not a fast food guy, as you guys probably know, but Craig took me to one that I had never been to, so of course I'm going to try it in Tennessee as well. Started with a Z, I think, Craig, and I've never been back to one since, but I remember it being just awesome. What was that?
Yeah.
What was that one called?
I'm not sure.
It started with a Z. You loved it, you told me. You had it before.
Zaxby's?
Zaxby's, that's it. Yeah.
That I think that was in Panama City Beach, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, Zaxby's is pretty solid, but I'm going to go with Mellow Mushroom in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which I did find out is a somewhat of a chain, and there actually is one in D.C., but I've only seen it a couple of places, and D.C. happens to be one of them. So, anyway, I'll go with that in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Well, the one I was going to go with is also in Chattanooga, Tennessee, but it was a little barbecue place off this one exit, so I don't remember the name of it, but they have phenomenal barbecue sandwich.
Craig, that one was in Georgia. I know the one you're talking about. That one was awesome. That was just that little shit. I know exactly what you're talking about. That was outside of Chickamauga and the Civil Battlefield day that we went to.
They had like pictures of people eating the food on the wall.
No, you're right. That was outside of Chattanooga, but that's on the border with Georgia. I think that was just on the Georgia side of the line. Yes, that was a very awesome spot. Yep, that was awesome.
I would go, but I don't remember the name of it, so maybe I could look it up and mention it.
Oh man!
But other than that, since I can't remember the name, I'll just go with the original Chick-fil-A in Atlanta, Georgia. We got a photo of Scott challenging his nugget record there, so that's pretty awesome. Special.
Yep, that was awesome. He ate one for all the presidents and for Hank Aaron, and it was just a very special day.
Yeah, good times. I'm actually going to say, well, if we're talking about like just ballparks, in Pittsburgh, there is a pulled pork sandwich at the stadium that's amazing, or the garlic fries back in the Giants stadium was great. I also really, really liked the Cajun filet mignon that I had at the French Quarter when we visited New Orleans.
Nice.
Oh, that's really good options. What about the street meat in Toronto way back in like 2005 or whatever that was?
If Junebug or Chad was on this episode, I think that they would have probably voted for that.
For sure, they would have. And that mustard was still on Craig's Brewers flag for years afterwards. But
yeah, Junebug got mustard on my flag, and it was apparent on the set for like 12 years.
Craig, I don't remember eating that sandwich in Pittsburgh. I know, Craig, you and I went to a Pittsburgh game. I don't know, Scotty, I don't think you were at that one, but I was there with Krager's. I don't remember much about their food. I think we ate at a bar before the game. But I know that on a trip that was not with you guys, I went to Colorado, and Coors Field had some great pizza. I think we're talking ballpark too. So.
Nice. Well, I guess we should have a little bit of baseball in the Rapid 9. So I have to ask, what is the biggest need for this Brewer team coming up to the trade deadline here?
To me, it's undoubtedly a middle infielder, number one, and a starting pitcher, number two.
I would say to acquire a starting pitcher that is superior to Chase Anderson is our number one need.
Meaning an ace. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. Middle infielder, then an ace, and lastly, having a catcher might be a good option too. Although there's not going to be a lot out on the market for us to improve on that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Despite the Lucroy trade a few years ago, guys, I just don't see a catcher moving at the deadline most of the time. So unless the Marlins surprise with Braille Muto, that would cost a ton of prospects. So
we could get Lucroy back for next to nothing, I suppose.
We could get Oakland's in it though, and Ramos with Tampa, he got hurt this week, right? So that takes another guy off the board. So I don't know.
All right, let's see here. Inning number 5. Give me your most impressive and most overrated landmark of any of our road trips. I know you have to think about this one a little bit because we've been to so many destinations. But just the landmark that you were most impressed with and the landmark that you were really underwhelmed with.
All right.
What about scariest landmark?
I knew you were going to say that, Craig. I will go with most impressive. I'm pretty biased, but I really enjoyed the battlefield in New Orleans that we did the TV show from for our viewers in West Dallas on West Dallas Public Access. I was not impressed at all with Canada as a whole. So Canada generally.
Canada's not a landmark, but I guess.
I just don't like Canada very much.
All right, my favorite landmark in Panama City Beach, Florida, was Sigmund Snowpeck, who is a Milwaukee legend.
That was awesome.
I'll just tell a story quick. Vince and I are in Panama City Beach, and we go into an old German beer hall there that just opened, which apparently has Milwaukee ties, whatever. This old German beer hall just had their grand opening, hired Sigmund Snowpeck and his sidekick, Michael, to come down there and perform, and Vince and I just stumbled upon them. Pretty hilarious. And let's see, the least favorite one, yes, definitely the Canadian Mounties who gave me a parking ticket.
And Craig, if I could, go ahead.
I was just going to mention you guys owe me for that parking ticket, by the way. A sixth of that.
Canadian dollars don't count.
$5 divided by 6. I don't know. Canadian. I don't know the conversion.
Canadian money doesn't count. It's not real, anyways. But
did you ever even bother to pay it? I wouldn't have. They're not going to extra.
No. What are you going to do?
I don't want Mounties coming after me.
What are you going to do? Go back to Canada? I mean, that's a joke.
Didn't you see Super Troopers 2? They're nothing. No.
I just saw that, yeah. Just to quickly add to Craig's story about the Panama City Sigmund Snowpack sighting. First of all, that happened that was unbelievable. Second, not only did that happen, but Sigmund invited us to go and hang out with him and Michael at their condo the next day in Florida. And I recall vividly sort of like having to hit myself, is this real? That in Panama City, Florida, we were sitting there with like manta rays or devil rays, wading through the ocean with Sigmund Snowpeck and a flugelhorn at one point in time. It was just sort of a surreal experience. And Sigmund, by the way, is a Waukesha guy and grew up on the same street as my dad, so there's a weird connection there as well. So anyway, that was awesome.
Small world.
Awesome drawback there, Craig. That was awesome. And third, the last point, that is also the same night that, Scott, you engaged in relations with your co-star on Hesitation, Ms. Schmid.
I'd probably still rather be on the road trip with you guys, but, you know. I would have said my most impressive landmark, I'm as much as you guys bagged on Canada, I consider Niagara Falls to be, after all, I was looking at the American side the whole time, so I was most impressive with that. And least impressive, I hate to say it, the Gateway Arch does nothing.
Oh.
I don't know, it's old and pointless, and I don't know, maybe if
there's a nice
over a river or something. Like it just didn't do anything for me. So I don't
There's
know.
a nice museum. There's that nice museum underneath it, though, Scott.
Pass. But all right, let's see. We got 9 minutes left to knock this out. Okay. This one should be fairly quick. What's your favorite place to eat lunch at the Milwaukee Brewers ticket office when you're on your lunch break?
Oh, geez, I'm just going to say Gillies again. I really enjoyed Gillies. Also, Barbier's as a very close second. I really thought their pizza was outstanding on Blue Mountain Road if we were sneaking away for a little bit longer than we were probably supposed to, and then John Barnes had to look the other way.
I know that I confused what kind of eating podcast this is or fine dining. But could you please repeat the question, Scott?
Yeah, where would you like to get your lunch when you were working at the Brewers ticket office?
Oh, where would I like to get my lunch? Good question. Where did I go? Unfortunately,
if you don't say Taco Bell, I'm going to call you a liar. No.
Yeah, Greg really enjoys the Taco Bell.
If I don't say Taco, well, I remember we were getting Ganser to Arby's for lunch. That was nice.
Very unique Milwaukee restaurants.
Yep. So go with that.
All right. I think I can't remember. I think we went to the Ice House once. That was pretty good.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we stayed there for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I just DJ'd a wedding at the Ice House, by the way. And I have no further comments.
I think we claimed that Collins' car got a flat tire, and that's why we were so late. And that was simply because Collins' car, you could never tell whether or not it had a flat anyways, so it didn't matter.
And as Mark Antoniuk would say, it takes about 2 cigarettes to fill a flat. So.
That's true.
But I'd say Culver's was probably my old standby. Speed this up a little bit. What's the moment you were least proud of on a Milwaukee Brewers road trip, a Brew Crew Review road trip? So something that each of us have done.
Mine was when Craig urinated and vomited all over that taxi and then the hotel floor.
Wait, there must be a year left. You can't steal my thunder.
In that
doesn't be the one that you're least proud of.
Well, I mean, I didn't do that. So yeah, I guess that it never got to that depth for me. But no, I would say being the 26 or 7-year-old on spring break in Panama City, Florida. At one point, I just sort of stopped and thought to myself, Vince, what are you doing with your life? You should probably just go start, working or making more money or doing something else besides being on the beach with all these beautiful women.
Or go play Frisbee or Sigmund Snowpack, which is what we actually did do, instead of ogling the co-eds, but whatever, it's all good. Also, I will point out in Cancun, Mexico, Scott refused to go see Fergie on the beach with me and do it by myself. Instead, spend time with the Mexican hotel mate.
That's the next inning where Scott gets to talk about what are we most proud of on our spring break trips.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll say my least finest moment is I think the night before I forgot to button my purple shirt in front of the Lou Palmisano interview, which I'm sure you guys have heard of. I apparently was at this place in Nashville called the Grand Central Station, which is a huge bar that had 7 bars within a bar within the same club or whatever. And so on one level they had like a wet t-shirt contest. Next level they had like some hillbilly music. The other level, Chad was sitting in a bar and he said, "Hey guys, come over here. Guess what? Beers here are only 10 cents. So I just bought you 19 of them for Robin Yount." And then Chad proceeded to make me drink the 19 beers, and I don't remember what happened after that, but I'm sure it wasn't my finest moment.
You also passed out on the grounds of the Tennessee State Capitol the next day, too, when I made you guys go there with me to see James Polk's grave.
Well, I would say that mine was probably, unfortunately, getting kicked out of the Nashville Sounds press room because I brought beer in there after a game. There were a lot of circumstances that made it so that I didn't realize that we were actually going there. But unfortunately, they were not particularly happy with me. And in fact, even when I finished the beer, they said, no, you can't throw the beer cup away here because it might make the press room smell like beer, which was weird because I think we all smell like beer, but that's fine. That was my least proud moment.
Say this is nothing like the press box in Milwaukee, but okay.
Yeah,
I noticed that we never got press passes in Nashville again after that, but I don't know why.
It's possible that it had something to do with it. Oh man, we only have like 3.5 minutes, so let's see here. What is your favorite road trip song?
I mean, Tom Carter, our anonymous source, told me that his favorite was John Denver's Rocky Mountain High, so I'll just go with that.
Or Take Me Home, Country Roads.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant.
I think that's a good one.
Our anonymous source, Tom Carter, told me that was the one he liked. So
I would have to say Dixie by Ernest Tubb, which was our first road trip that really, I remember we played just through that 5-man stretch. We went from Tennessee to Georgia. But on top of a close second, I'm going to go with a combination of songs I played on one road trip when I turned to Chad and said, I don't think anyone wants to play these two songs back-to-back ever in history of the world. And Chad said, oh, definitely not. And that was the Fraggle Rock theme song, followed by Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap by AC/DC.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, don't forget Scissors Sisters. Scissor Sisters was on that mix.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll feel like dancing. Yep.
Pew, pew.
I got to throw it out to the late, great, phenomenal Mary when we would serenade her with our voicemails, singing Merle Haggard's Mama Tried instead singing Mary Tried. That was absolutely my favorite. A lot of great fun moments of that. And
yeah, rest in peace, Mary.
Oh, only 2 minutes left. All right. Well, let's see here. What was your favorite baseball/softball video game?
Oh, without a doubt, Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball on Nintendo 64. I'm sorry, on Super Nintendo. No doubt about it.
Mine's complete, hands down, no-brainer. The first video game that I remember ever having comprehensive stats that you could keep track of, and that was also for Nintendo. I'll probably date myself, but Baseball Stars, it's called.
Nice.
And mine was also NES. It's a phenomenal game. To this day, I still have it. Dusty Diamonds All-Star Softball.
Nice, Scotty.
Yep.
Good reference, guys.
Absolutely amazing. Well, I guess we only have about a minute left, so I suppose we got to wrap this up, huh? But hopefully, that maybe this will, that little trip down memory lane keep us positive, and hopefully we're going to make a great trade here in the next week or two.
And play better in the second half. We hope that next week our podcast will include both Chad Collins and our anonymous source, Tom Carter. Keep sending in your internship applications to Brew Review podcast with an S at gmail.com, and follow us on Twitter at Brew Review 1. That is Brew Review 1.
All right, well, stay classy, guys. Stay classy, internet, and
go Brewers.